Hello friends, and welcome to this session of Zoico Garage. We're going to continue our look at the interior refresh of the WRX. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the e-brake specifically. We replace the stock handle with this cool OLM carbon fiber replacement. We replace the button, and we're going to replace the leather with a red stitched leather boot to match the rest of the stuff in the car. Let's get to work. First thing we're going to want to do is remove the e-brake boot. You want to do that, just forcefully pull up and it will pop. Like that. If you're replacing the boot as we are, you don't want to break any of this when you're pulling it out. Next, we're going to remove the rubber handle, vinyl handle, whatever it is. Next, we're going to remove the stock handle. It's held in there with some adhesive. Really just kind of grab it and just start to roll it back and forth, and it'll start to move for you and release that adhesive. And then you can kind of just start to rock it and push up. There we've got the old handle off. There's not much residue left on here from the adhesive. Cool. So after removing the stock e-brake handle, I'm going to try to remove this button. It's plastic. They put some sort of thread lock on there, possibly some glue or something. Anyhow, I had a little bit of difficulty, as you can see. I had to wedge a screwdriver and keep applying pressure while spinning it, and then eventually it will pop off. You'll want to take that off before you slide on the OLM handle, because it's going to be a little bit longer than stock, and you won't have as much of the silver button to grab hold of to try to get it out. Hopefully your button comes out a little bit easier. And now with that, we're going to go ahead and install the new carbon fiber OLM e-brake cover. I don't know if you can really see it, but there's a ridge in there, and on the bottom edge of here of the handle, of the brake handle, there's a gap. That ridge fits into the gap. I'm not going to apply any adhesive or anything to this. It will be tight enough. Just make sure you get it into that groove. You shouldn't have to spin it. Just work it back. And push. Push. I think I've about bottomed out. Go a little bit, see if I can get a little bit more on it. good. Okay, so with minimal effort, you can slide that back on. It's definitely not going to come off accidentally. It's on there really tight. So now I'm going to grab the new black, gloss black button, and we'll put it in. There's the new gloss button. Can't remember the brand, but you get almost any color you want on Subi Speed, different manufacturers. So we're just going to rest that on the spring and slowly try to grab the rod, the threaded rod in there. And there we go. And we will continue to cinch her down. Appears to be working fine. And that's it. New carbon fiber e-brake cover and gloss black button installed. I do have a red stitched leather boot. What I may not have right this moment is the adhesive to attach it to the plastic frame. So I may have to come back to this. So we've got the stock e-brake boot out of the car. It's still attached to its plastic piece, its frame. Gonna have to, it's on there with adhesive. Gonna have to peel it off of here. Hear that. Here's the new boot, the red stitched leather. It is cut identical to this, so it should fit onto the frame with no problem. This should have came stock with the car, honestly. Thought about soaking this to try to loosen the adhesive, but it's peeling off pretty easily. I'll try to do this without destroying it, although that would make this a lot easier.
Now we're cooking propane. Okay, heated this up also, and that might have helped release the adhesive. By the way, if you don't have a set of these, then you don't need those. You're missing out. Very handy.
Definitely gonna have to clean this up. Didn't lose as much of the backing as I had thought. Oh, and there I did it. I ripped it. Good thing I have another one. Oops. Alright, cool. So that's off there. Gonna clean this up.
Try some goof off here.
Not sure where I left off in the last clip. So anyhow, I finished cleaning off all the residue. Ended up roughening up the surface with some sandpaper. It's got a nice grit to it for the adhesive to adhere to. I've already masked off some areas I don't want to get the adhesive on. I don't have to be so precise since I'm using spray rather than a brushed on product. Kind of made a makeshift spray booth out of cardboard. So what I did, I laid down that frame and traced where I want to place it once I've sprayed the glue on it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray right along here, and line the frame up, and then let that set. Then I'll fold the edges over, and then I'll work over. Once that's set, I can pull it tight across this side. Hopefully it works out. I've done upholstery 0 times. This should be pretty easy actually, and it'll look great once it's in. Stay tuned. Alright, for this task I've chosen Gorilla Glue. Works pretty good. Wish me luck, friends. line it up on my marks. Hopefully I get this right. That's looking good. This stuff tacks up quick. All right. No rules, just right. Oh yeah, that's nice. Look at that. Yeah, still let that set up so I can stretch the boot without it pulling off. Okay, so far so good. I've placed some plastic over the boot so I don't get any overspray on it. And next I'm going to be focusing on these edges here.
Yeah, that looks pretty legit. I'll let that set up before moving on.
All right, so these have set here, the last bit we did. Next we're gonna catch this edge here. I've covered again the boot with some plastic just so I don't get any overspray on it. It's actually turning out pretty well. start stretching it towards the back. I guess that would be the front actually. Now we can start getting this edge down. Alright, we'll let that set. Cool, now lastly, we're going to glue this tab down and then roll this tab over the edge here on the front of the boot. I've masked off with some plastic, or with some tape, and I'm going to put the plastic over this and then spray it. The spray nozzle is actually pretty precise, controllable, predictable. That's a nice feature of this Gorilla Glue, which I'm pretty happy with so far. And we'll let that tack for a sec. Pull it over and fold it. Get that little tab. Moving over to the front. Press that into the edges there. Make sure we get 100% adhesion as best as we can. Yeah. So I'm gonna let that set up and then I'll pull off the tape and we'll put it in the car. Alright, back in the car with our newly fitted e-brake boot. And tell you what, that looks pretty sweet. Surely not much to reinstalling it. Just be mindful of the 2 clips on the bottom. We're just gonna slide it down the e-brake handle. We're gonna try to clip that bottom in. With one hand. Okay, that. Yeah, so being mindful of those bottom clips, you want to clip those in first to stop the camera. It took both hands. Once you get those 2 clips I noted earlier, then you can come onto this side and start snapping in this outer ring, and it should pop in. You'll hear it. I've already done it here. Now we'll continue moving the boot down the handle. Try to get these little tabs to tuck back under. So yeah, those tabs that were sticking out, you can still see them. You may want to trim those before you insert your boot. Keep working on pushing those in. It's not that hard to push them in. Just don't want to mess up the stitching here. Okay, that looks pretty good. Nice. That looks really good. It wasn't as difficult as you might think to reattach the boot, or to attach the boot to the frame. Once you secure it on the big flat side, it's easy to pull around and easy to install. It looks great with our CVT red stitched leather console piece. Now it all ties together. That should have been stock. That concludes this episode of Zoiko's Garage. Thanks for watching.